tastes okay. So
Probably like blueberry.
blueberry, something like that. It's not that bad. All right. So what I want to do real quick, is I want to give an overview of what we're even talking about here. What I want to focus talking about today, and it's going to take us into Thursday to complete talking about it, and then we're going to latch something else onto it on Thursday, is something called how to measure. This is the big idea. The center of a data set. The center. Now I put center in quotes because it really is a big picture idea. You guys gave us wonderful, wonderful, wonderful denotations or auxiliary or alternate definitions of what center is. But measuring center, which is also sometimes called central tendency. I like that phrase too. The only problem with central tendency is the word tendency. When you hear the word tendency, what do you think of?
Leads towards.
Leads towards, exactly. That's not what statisticians think of it as. They think of it as more of a normal, typical, or common. But I think of tendency as you swing towards that direction, which actually implies a statistics bias, which is something you try to avoid when at all possible. But nonetheless, we do care about the center of a data set very, very often. For example, it allows us to decide whether or not a drug is actually doing what the drug is supposed to do, on average. It lets us know whether a certain rehabilitation technique is doing what it's supposed to do on average. And when I say on average, it means for example, the average person, or for most people, or for the median person, which again opens up a whole can of worms, right? How many of you have been told, don't take that medicine, it doesn't do crap for me? And that might be true. I mentioned acupuncture on the first day of class, right? Don't take acupuncture because no report's ever been shown that it's effective. Okay, first of all, no report's ever shown that it's ineffective either. But even if a report has been published that shows it's ineffective, it opens my nose when I have allergies. So I must not be the average person with respect to acupuncture. You see what I'm getting at here? So averages are useful. They're also not the be-all and end-all. And when your friend says, don't do X because I tried X and it had no effect, that doesn't mean the average is wrong. That means your friend is on one end of that average. So again, it's the limitations of the statistics we have to talk about as much as the statistics themselves. Just because, well, we'll get into Jared later on. Anyway. Let's talk about the average again. And then when I talk about the average, the word mean. Because the word average can actually span to mean a lot of other things besides what you guys just did up here. Only two formulas I like to harp on in this class. Only two. And one of them is how to find an average manually. I think it's important enough to manually crunch that. The other one is called a z-score, and we'll do it later on in the course. I'm not saying we're going to calculate every average by hand, because that's ridiculous. It's completely absurd, actually. But at least understanding how to crunch them by hand in many, many different formats is important. So first of all, I want to talk about a symbol. X with a line over the top of it. That's too low, isn't it? Yes, it is. Let's go up high. I'm going to move the median and put it up here. Is this better? For you guys in the back, I want to make sure you guys can see. X with a line over it. Let me start. Stop and start again.